Evening everybody, Rich here, back for part 2 of this SS Bremen tutorial. Today's focus will be the ship's main hull, which is the black section of the ship. You would have seen it in the prototype in the previous video. I would point out the prototype, but it's so far in the distance. Oh, there it is. You can just see it there. So basically the focus for today is the black section of the hull. Not as complex as the red section, which was in part 1, and I do apologise for those who are still trying to build it. Right, before we start the black section, we're going to start with a white line. So we're going to start from the tip of the bow. Going to add a white line, and I'm going to work on the left-hand side, and then I'll just copy-paste it to the other side, because it's not complex, but the front section is fairly straightforward, but it changes as we get to the back. So I'll show you what we're talking about. On the front section of the bow, we'll just add white blocks to the top of the red sections like that, so it doesn't overhang or anything, it just sits on top of the blocks here. So on the bow it's all fine, the bow being the front of course. So we just add the white blocks on this section. It's when we get to the stern it gets a bit more ass about face, so just carry on building the side, the front section first. Like I said, I do this side, then off camera I just copy paste it to the other side just to save a bit of time. So right, oh, damn it. So like I said, just building the white blocks all along the top of the red, all along the side. So like I said, it doesn't overhang or anything in the front section. It's only when it gets to the back it gets a bit more complex. So are we on to the outside edge? I think we're on the outside edge now, so just carry on adding the white for the minute. Right, so there we go, that's to the end of the outside edge. Now we've got one section in from that, and then another section. So it's basically the first section of the back end. So where the outside edge is there, it goes in one, which is this section here. We'll do the same on this section. We just add the white line without any overhang or anything. So we just build it up to the edge, or build it up to the end of the section, so it doesn't overhang. It just sits in line with the rest. So as you can see there, it doesn't overhang or anything. What we're going to do, we're going to go to the end of the next section, and then I'll explain and try and work out myself what I'm supposed to be doing. So we'll just go all the way to the end of that one section, like so. And yeah, as we can see, this is section this will be section 1. Okay. Let me just work this one out. I had a massive lag spike then, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we're at the end of this section, so what we're going to do, this would be section, well, it's sort of a section on its own. So what we're going to do at the end of this one, it's the first of many, we're going to add a row of 3 overhanging. So this one section, as it's the first of the top section like that, it overhangs by just 3 like that. And then for the next 8 rows, we're going to be overhanging by 2. So this is now section 1 here, basically section 1 of a new group of sections, if you like. Just build a line on this one. So this, like I said, this is section 1 up to there, and then we overhang by 2. So that's section 1, and onto section 2, and overhang by 2 at the end. Then section 3, overhang by 2. Section 4, overhang by 2. Section 5, overhang by 2. Section 6, overhang by 2. Section 7, overhang by 2. And then section 8, overhang by 2 like that. So that is those 8 sections like that. So section 1, or 1 of 1, the first section of that group, we overhang by 3. And then section 1 to 8 after it was overhang by 2. So I'll try and explain it in English, but it's coming out as gibberish, so anyway, it doesn't matter. So after that, you've got all the rows of, well, they overhang by 2 like that, and then the next row is just add blocks so they overhang by 1. So basically just add 2 blocks on the top of the sections here. So we add 2 there, and as you can see it overhangs by 1. And then the next row just add 2 there, 2, 2, and then 2, 2, and then on the next row 2, 2, 2, and the outside, or the back end row, just add 2 2s all the way across. And then now we're over the center point onto the other side. But you can see from below the sections overhang by a single block, and the other sections overhang by 2. and then that last section will overhang by 3. So that is how that is, and I think I've got it right first time, and that is how that looks. It's not complex to build it, you know, it looks uncomplex, but it's just me trying to explain it that makes it sound complex, so apologies in that department there. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a quick jump cut while I copy it to the other side, so just to save a bit of time, so I shall return in just a moment. Okay, back again. Now I've got all the white line in place, as you can see, on both sides. Can't see it in the distance though, because I've got the chunks turned down because the lag, but you can take my word for it, it's all done, so you can see the white line there. Right, so now we're going to work on the black section on the main the main hull of the ship, as you can see on the prototype, the big black section on the side of the ship there. Because the black colour is very difficult to see, well, you know, to see the block count, I'm going to build it in white. Now I'm just going to explain this. I'm going to build it in white, so just for the purpose so you can see. But you carry on building it in black or any colour you want, so I'm just building it in white just so you can see, then I can change it over once it's all done. So I'm going to be building it in white, just to make sure. Yeah, so from the tip of the bow, you carry on in black, I'll build it in white. So from the tip of the bow, on top of the white, you're going to build up, I'm just trying to work out now, 2, so yeah, so you build up 2, actually I should have used a different coloured white to make it different from the white stripe, but never mind. I'll build up 2, and then you want 5 rows of 4 up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, so that should be 5 rows of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then at the top you want a row of 2, like that. So it's 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 2. So 2, 4 rows of 4, no, 2, 5 rows of 4, and then 2. Like that. So that is the shape of the bow we're going for. So that's the centre line, okay? So that's the tip of the bow. And then for the next 18 sections, so from either side of the tip, on the next 18 sections you want to copy that same design. So I'm going to use World Edit to do this bit. So I go from there down to there, and I'll copy it from try and get it stopped. So copy from there. So I'm just going to paste the same thing onto the next 18 sections, and I'll be doing it on the left hand side. So section 1, paste there, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, section 6, section 7, section 8, section 9, section 10, section 11, section 12, section 13, section 14, section 15, section 16, sorry, section 17, and section 18. I'll just double check to make sure that is 18. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there we go, that's 18 sections. As you see, it's sort of very similar to the section below where the gaps in between. But that, like I said, it's the same design for the next 18 sections. And then after that, section 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 are going to be a slightly different design. They're slightly higher. So we've got a section 19, and what we're going to do, we're going to build up 2, so up 2, and then 5 rows of 4 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. So that's 5 rows of 4. So it's 2 and 5 rows of 4. But instead of adding 2, we add 2 rows of 3. So we add 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 at the top, like so. So it's slightly higher because that's the way the hull is in this area. So a recap of what it was: so we build 2, and then 5 rows of 4. Just double check: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 rows of 3, and then 2. So that is section 19. And we'll do that up to the end of section 23. So it's 19, 20, 21, 22. Hang on. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yep, so that's up to 23. So I shall copy paste it again. So from there down to here, copy it. So we do copy again. So that's section 19 done. Section 20. Paste, done it wrong. I meant to copy it, not paste it. No, paste it, not copy it. So copy it again, then I'll paste it. So that's section 19 done. 20. 21. 22. And then 23. Up to there. And there we go, that is the front half of the hull done. So the stern half we'll focus on later on. We're just going to focus on this bit for the moment. So as you can see, that is how that all looks. So there we go, and that's that. Right, before we move on to the next section, which is filling in the gaps, we're going to go to the top of row 18, or section 18, which is this one here, just before it gets higher there. So we're going to do section 18, which is this one. We're going to add another 3 blocks back. So we go 1, 2, 3. So at the top, like I said, or add 3 blocks at the top. So 3 blocks like that. And then what you want to do is build up 2, and then build up 3. 1, 2, 3, like so, up to the height of the row 19, and then build back to connect to it like that. So this is basically where the hull changes in height on the prototype. As you can see in the distance, the black section gets a bit higher. Just under the mast there. So that's what we're trying to go for now. Right, so that is that section sort of explained and done. So the next job to do is to go on the inside of the bow and fill in the gaps. So we're going to just fill in the gaps like before on the red section below. Just go on the inside, fill in all the gaps. It's another one of those really long, boring jobs that really needs to be done. And yeah, it will drive you insane. So I'll do the first few sections like so. There we go, that's the first few sections done, and as you can see the hull is taking shape. Although it's white, yours should be black, so it will look a lot better than that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a quick jump cut while I fill in the rest of the gaps, and then we can move on to the next job. And also I might copy and paste it to the other side, but we'll see. Anyway, back in a bit. Okay, back again. Now I've filled in all the gaps between the hull sections, and now the hull should look something like this. Although, well, yours should be black, of course, but that's it. But that is how it should look. And I've also done the other side as well, so we've got 2 halves of the hull done. So it should all look something like that. But like I said, it does take a long time to do this, especially freehand, which is what I was doing. Filling in all those gaps is a real pain in the arse, but never mind, we got there in the end. Anyway, that is the front half done. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the outside edge of the ship again, but on the behind the section we've already done. So I'm working on the left-hand side again, and we're going to go to the well, here's the outside edge anyway. So we're going to go to the back end of the outside edge, and we're going to start the next process of the hull. So at the back end now of that outside edge, and now we're going to start with the ship the hull curving inwards. But before we do that, I'm going to start from this block here, and what we're going to do the same thing as we've done before, but now facing the other way. So for this section, the outside edge, and then the next section, they're going to be the same design. So 2 sections are the same. So what we're going to do, we're going to build up 2, so up 2, and then 5 rows of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 5, wouldn't it? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 rows of 4. And then 2 rows of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 2. Like that. So that is the same basically as what we did on the front section, but facing the other way. And then what we're going to do is do the same design on the next row along. So that's the outside edge. So we move to the next row along, and we're here. So we do the same again. So up 2, and then 5 rows of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 5 rows again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then we want 2 rows of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 2. 1, 1, 2, like that. So there we go. That's those 2 sections done. And yeah, they don't look too bad. So now what we're going to do now, we're going to go on to the third section, which is a completely different design. So this is where things get a bit more complicated, because if you look on the prototype in the distance, you can see the hull changes in height. So we've got open promenades in that area. So if you can see the cursor in the middle, I don't know if you can, but the hull section goes to about that point, and then it drops down, moves along, and it drops down again, and then moves along. So it drops down in 2 phases. So this is the first section, I think, of that drop down. So what we're going to do, we'll go to this back edge here, and what we're going to do, we're going to build backwards 3, backwards 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So it overhangs by 3. So it's 4, and then 2 rows of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 like that. And then you want 2 rows of 2. So 2 and then 2. So quick double check, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2. And then we want up 2 like that. Lost where I'm going. And then we want up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that. And that is, I think, yeah, that is the first section of the drop down section. So what we want to do now is then move along to the next section. The next section, I think, the next section along, as well as all the sections after that, are the same. So this is the last section of the dropped hull, basically. So from this point onwards, all the sections will be the same round to the centre line. So from this point here on the next section along, we build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 rows of 2. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of 2 like that. And then we want up 2 like that. And then up 3, 1, 2, 3, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And that is, and that should look, now that should be the same for all the sections around the stern now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat and use World Edit. So I'll copy from there down to there. And I'll copy from under here, so copy. So that's that section. We'll move to the next section along. I'm not counting how many there are, but it would just go right the way round to the centre line of the ship, and I just copied it again, so I pasted it there, and then we'd paste it on the next section. So paste, and the same with the next section to there, and then the next section, and then the next one, and the next one, and then the next one. Ooh. And the next one, and to the next one. So now we're at the back of the ship. We're starting to move towards the centre. So those 2 sections, and then the next 3 here, and then the last ones across the back up to the centre. Is that the centre? I've just gone over the centre, but we're up to the centre point anyway. So that is the stern as it stands. So we've got all the stern sections all filled in. Well, not filled in, but they're all in place. And the ship should look something like that. So like I said, that one section we built a second ago, they're the same as that all the way around to the centre of the back. So you just build that same design all the way around. I'll just do a quick flyover, or fly around the back here so you can see what it's like. And it should all look something like that. So that's one half of it done anyway. So what I'm going to do, before we fill in the gaps, we're going to go to the section number 3. So we've got the first 2 sections over there, as you can see, those 2 sections there. We'll go to section number 3, and there's a little bit of jiggery pokery to do first. So we go to the top of it, the top block here, and from that top block we're going to build forward, and it's going to be forward 42 blocks. So we're going to build 42. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 1, 2. So that should be 42. And just measure it to make sure. Going to get rid of that one, or not get rid of it, but measure it from there to there, and yep, it's 42 as it says at the bottom at the end of that pink sentence. So that's 42, and then you want to build on top of that, you want to build 5. So at the end you build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 like that, and then 2 up like so, and then we build forward to connect to the next section along. So I don't know how many it is, but just build forward anyway and I measure it and build forward until you connect virtually to that next section along, and it is the same height, which is fine. Now just measure this section so we know what it is. It is 24 blocks, so that is how that should look. So that's all connected up. As you can see, this is where this area here where we just built is where the hull drops down for the first phase. And what we're going to do, we're going to go along to the next section. So we've got that section there, which is section number 3, which we just built on. Then we go to section number 4, which is the first of the sections, which are all the same. We're going to go for the top line of that one, and we're going to build 15 forward. So from the top block, we're going to build 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we build up 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then back 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. And that connects to that section there, and that is the final section of final phase of where the hull drops, and it should look something like that. It's sort of, you can see the outline of how the hull's meant to be. It's complex as hell to explain, but in practice it all looks fine. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go to the inside of the hull and just going to start filling in the gaps between each pillar or each section, and I'll do the first few sections like I did before, and then I'll do a jump cut and go from there. So just do the first few sections. That's the first few done. So if you can see on the outside, you can see the gaps are starting to fill in. So what I'm going to do, I'll do a jump cut while I fill in the rest, and then I'll move on to the next phase. So back it a bit. Okay, back again. Now I've filled in all the gaps between the hull sections of the stern now, and the stern should look something like this. So you can see all the gaps filled in there. I haven't done the other side yet, but you can see how it's all laid out. Doesn't look too bad. It looks a bit weird in some places, but yeah, not too bad. Also got the sections at the top there where the hull changes in shape. I haven't done that section there, so we're going to fill that in first. So what we're going to do is just fill in the sections between bow and stern. So bear with me a second while I fill this in. Like I said, though, it's like I said at the beginning, it's meant to be black, so I'm just using white as before. This will all change to black by the end of the video, so don't worry about that. Just get these areas all straightened off, and I usually weld edit to sort out all the problems. Problem is that it's such a big build, and I've mentioned this before, it's a big build, and if you're going to do this by single-handed, then you're going to go mentally, or just go insane basically, because it's such a large build. I mean, it's taken me ages, and I'm using weld edit, so in fact you're doing this all by freehand. Anyway, up to there, use quartz to fill in the side, so the side's filled in. I've just got to fill in the side here. There we go, that's the side all done, and the hull, in theory, should look something like that, although a different colour, of course. You can see there's quite a large ship, and yeah, it's quite a hefty thing. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use weld edit to copy and flip over. So I'm going to go from this point here. Damn it! So copy from here down to the stern, and to the centre point of the stern, and I'm just going to flip it over and paste it. So bear with me a minute when I do this. Doesn't always work, but wait and see. So I'm to the stern here, flop down to the bottom, and I think that's about centre line, isn't it? Can't really see, they're too bloody dark. But there is the centre, up to there, so I'll copy to there. I'll fly up and land on here. I do Copy. This may work, it may not. And then flip to the right. And then we do paste. Did it work? Yay, it worked. There we go, that's all flipped over and pasted. Got the stern all complete and done. And then your ship should all look something like this. Amazing. But like I said, the sections we just built is not as complex as the red section we built in part 1. So, here, there we go. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change the whole colour of the ship now. Or at least the top half. So the blacks or the white section is now going to change to black, apart from that one white line, which we built at the beginning. So I'm going to fly down to stern here. I'm just going to build out to the side, where I can get a copy point. Well, not a copy point, but a world edit point to there, and build up a few blocks, and we'll go from there. These blocks are no longer needed. Fly all the way to the front. La 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 la. Diddy 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 diddy. Dilly dum dilly doo. As you can tell, this thing is huge. I mean, I thought the Titanic was big. I think my Titanic is bigger, but this thing sort of looks more impressive, probably because of the hull shape. Even though it's still not a perfect and regarded as a accurate hull design, it's still a lot better than a lot of things I've done before. So we're down to the bow. Just build forward for the other world edit point, and then out to the side. Roughly about there. Do that, and we can get rid of the blocks. Get rid of all of them. And what we can do now is replace the quartz with the black. So what we do replace quartz with black, and there we go. That's the hull all changed colour. As you can see, it's still got the white line, but the hull is now all black, and no, don't look too bad, do it? It looks, I think the white was more impressive. I think you can see the details, but never mind. But anyway, we've got all the hull out the way, and that is pretty much it for today. As you can see, all the way down to the back end here, it all changes in height. Kind of looks like those two halves of an Airfix kit, if you know what I mean, or a Revel kit. It don't look too bad. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fly back to the bow, and then we're going to finish off and explain what we're going to do next. Yes, it's a long old video. This is, well, not as long as the last one, to tell you that. I think recording it's taken longer than actually, well, the building actually in between takes is actually taking longer. Well, anyway, we're at the bow now, so that is pretty much it for today. So that's part 2 over with. For part 3, we're going to start with we're going to focus on primarily on the stern, because there's a lot of open decks there, where where the hull drops down. The decks do not, so we've got a lot of open promenade area in that. Well, open promenades in that area. So there's probably about 3, well, at least 2, maybe 3 decks that need to be built on on the stern for part 3, and then the other decks will be filled in as well. So that will be part 3, and that the main focus will be the stern area. So we shall see when we get there. But anyway, we've got 2 videos out the way. We've got the two major chunks of the ship out the way. So now it's more of the fiddly bits, but smaller, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that is pretty much it. So this is Rich signing off, logging off and disappearing, and I shall return in part 3, hopefully. So bye for now.